Calvo, has shown that students will put forth greater effort and demonstrate a higher degree of persistence if they like their teachers. To create a strong student-teacher relationship, teachers can use language and word choice to trigger positive emotions. This can be seen in the Gorham study. In the Gorham study, 397 undergrads were asked to think of the best teachers they have had and to list the specific likable behaviors of those teachers. The top 5 responses were: 1. Vocal expressiveness. 2. The teacher never sought to put students on the spot. 3. The teachers asked questions with more than one answer. 4. They did not point out the faults of the students or criticize them. And 5, they used inclusive pronouns. For example, our assignments versus your assignments. This, in turn, relates to immediacy. Immediacy is the perception of physical and psychological closeness between communicators. The principle of immediacy states that people are drawn towards persons and things they like and prefer. They avoid things, however, that they dislike or do not prefer. Immediacy can be split into 2 categories: nonverbal immediacy behaviors and verbal immediacy behaviors. Today, we will be focusing on verbal immediacy behaviors. Verbal immediacy behaviors include calling the students by their names, using inclusive pronouns, making small talk, giving feedback to the students, and receiving feedback from the students.
Hi, I'm Katie Kipdome. I am a 5th grade teacher in Ypsilanti, Michigan. What impact does teacher feedback have on performance? It has a major impact on performance, whether you give positive or negative feedback. How students take it can mean the world. When you give constructive feedback, it is important to make sure that you tell students how something that they did well, then what you need them to fix, and end the conversation with something they did well again, so that they don't feel like they're being attacked. This will make for a positive relationship and one where it's a working relationship.
In one class, I had a pretty bad streak of grades where my grades had fallen pretty far, and then I decided, well, hey, I should probably get this act together. And I studied quite a lot for the test, and it was a big improvement. And my teacher pulled me aside like the next day after she graded it and said, I'm really happy that you did this, that you decided to pull yourself up, and then I decided that I should keep it that way and keep my grades steady up high.
I had a student teacher one time who pretty much just whenever I would come into class was like, hey Alex, you're not giving any effort. I really feel like you're not even trying in this class. I would really appreciate it if you would just try and set an example for somebody. If for nobody else, just for yourself. That pretty much just put me down to the point where I felt like I couldn't take it anymore, and I literally did just give up, just stopped trying. I came into class every day and just slept, and pretty much just, like I said, just gave up.
So did you feel like you were trying before he had said that?
I felt like I was trying, in which I guess my work wasn't to their standard.
Through careful use of language, we can support students as they develop self-control, build their sense of community, and gain academic skill and knowledge.
I am the assistant program director at a swim school. So I work alongside the program director with program development. I work with the kids, and I also teach them swimming. I also teach the teaching assistants and help with the training of the instructors as well. And we work with them on basically how to work with the children and how to introduce the material to them in a way that they will comprehend and understand as well as motivate them to succeed in the program. From my own experience, I would typically be the type of child that if you were to tell me no or don't or stop, those would be words that would probably shut me down or send me in the opposite direction. For me, it would be more important to tell me what I can do. I think for most children or most people in general, we like to feel a sense of control even under an authoritative situation. So giving people different choices of what they can do rather than telling them what they can't do still gives them the ability to be in control, but within the constraints of what the authoritative figure would like them to do. I think that words that build people up are what motivate people to succeed, what make them feel good enough about themselves and care enough about themselves to push them forward and to propel them to want to try harder, to want to work harder. When we use negative verbiage, it breaks down that relationship of trust and of caring. I think in order for people to want to please whoever is giving them instruction, they really have to know that they're cared about, that they're not just there to, just as another number, I guess. And even with children, they may not just think that they're a number, but they need to know that they can trust you and that you care about them. Because if you don't, they're never going to step out to, push those boundaries and try a little bit harder. So I think that word choices that any type of teacher uses are extremely important in helping their students succeed in every way, shape, and form.
When considering word choice, it's very important to determine which style of language would be most beneficial to your students. For example, academic language versus conversational language.
If you only use academic language all the time, then students are more likely to zone out, and once you are speaking more on their level and in their language, they are more attentive. I have had classes where students need and want the academic language. They don't want the regular language for information, especially for science. They want this specific academic language for it. So I have to know my students and use the language that I know that they want to hear.
One of the major problems with language in teaching is that each child is different. Language and word choice that may be beneficial or motivate one student may be detrimental or demotivate another.
Do you feel discouraged when teachers praise other students in front of the class? Or is that a motivation for you to speak out and do better?
Well, I'm personally actually very competitive. So when I hear that somebody's doing better than I am, it actually very well motivates me to try and push to the next level. I'll never accept second best. Always want to be the best. So when I hear somebody saying that, hey, this guy's doing better than I am, I want to try and be better than that person that they're pointing out.
I don't feel as though a teacher needs to praise another student, especially when they're in your class, that their work is better than yours, because it's not really motivating. It just says, okay, well then what did I do wrong? You might have worked really hard on a project and you thought you did really well. Well, your teacher doesn't single you out to praise you. They single your friend John over here. Like, it's just, I don't feel as though it's fair. I feel as though having equal praise, or saying as a class you guys did well in this project, or as a class I felt you guys could have done better, instead of saying, well, you did terrible on this, or you did really, really well on this, like this is the best one I've ever seen. I don't feel as though that is necessary. maybe in private it's okay, but not in front of the entire class.
In conclusion, as seen throughout the various studies, expert opinions, and student opinions, language has a major influence on the acquisition of knowledge. The effectiveness that a teacher has depends on many different factors. All students learn in various ways and receive information differently. However, the information we have gathered through this project points to the idea that more positive and specific language has a more beneficial impact on teaching and on students' education. Thank you.